on Larry King Now, legendary comedian Jon Lovitz.
I started doing Woody Allen and Lenny Bruce's routines in my college dorm. Then after that, I was going to start doing stand-up, and a guy teaching this workshop for stand-up said, "Oh, they're not hiring stand-ups for sitcoms." He goes, "Yeah, you'd think they would, but they don't." I go, "Well, that's weird." So I'll skip that step. And I didn't realize they weren't hiring him. And I was 22, I didn't know anything.
What do you make of the show now? Saturday Night Live is going through the roof with Trump, right?
Well, I remember years ago, Senator Al Franken, who hired me, but he said, if you have people go, it's the writing or the cast, and he goes, well, both. If both mesh together, that's when it does its best. And I think that's what you have now.
Who's a comic you currently flip for?
I think David Tell's hilarious. And then Zach Galifianakis, when he does he's really fun, but the Between Two Ferns, that kills me.
Plus.
Wait, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I thought of an interesting question. Is there anyone that you haven't interviewed that you'd want to?
I wanted to do Fidel Castro when he passed away. I missed him.
Well, it wouldn't have gone well. He didn't speak English.
I would have tried.
It would have been gay? Gay?
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest, one of my favorite people, Jon Lovitz. The legendary actor and comedian Jon shot to stardom as an SNL cast member from 85 to 90. We've seen him on the big screen in films like Big and A League of Their Own and City Slickers and The Wedding Singer. That's just to name a few. On TV, he's known for roles on shows like Friends, The New Girl, as well as animated series like The Critic and The Simpsons. Throughout his career, he's also found great success as a stand-up comedian and is currently performing at the Foundry at the SLS Hotel in Las Vegas alongside Dana Carvey. How does that work? The two of you do it you're both comedians, so it's not Abbott and Costello with a straight man.
No, he started as a stand-up when he was 18, but he'll do about half an hour. The show's an hour and a half, so he'll do a half hour stand-up, then I'll do a half hour, and then we come out together and answer questions that we took from the audience and show clips from different
That's great.
scenes
I'm going to come see that. How often?
Well, let me know. I can get you in.
When do you work?
I think I can get you a twofer.
When do you work?
I'll
pay. When do you work?
It's basically one weekend a month.
You work together at Saturday Night Live, right?
Yeah, he came. I was on the show, and then 85 to 86, and then he came on the next year. And I remember when I first met him, Phil Hartman and I were in, and Phil had just gotten the show. We were in the Bernie Brillstein was the big manager, and we're in his office, and Dana. We met Dana in the reception area, and we both really liked him, and said, "Boy, I hope he gets the show." And so he's been one of my best friends ever since. And
great guy.
Yeah, great guy, and he's so funny and so talented, and his impressions are, to me, it's like a magic act. Yeah. But he doesn't want to follow me. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to follow you? But it works out. Despite
all you've done, would you say you're best known for Saturday Night Live, career-wise?
For a while, but now that's I've been off the show 27 years. So like a lot of kids that are 18 or younger, or 20 or younger, they know me, that movie Benchwarmers.
Oh, yeah.
That Adam, because a lot of kids saw that. But a lot of Adam Sandler, he's huge, and he's given me a lot of parts in his movies. So people know me, they always just mention different things.
You're known. Everybody knows.
They know me. Like I did Friends one time. I did Seinfeld one time. They know me from different things.
Do you keep in touch with other cast members from SNL?
Well, yeah, I'll see him then. Mostly Dana, and then Dennis I'll talk to sometimes. And then
Dennis
Phil,
Miller.
of course, was like my brother.
A tragedy.
Horrible. Yeah,
that was a tragedy.
Yeah, and if he was around, he'd probably be doing the show with Dana and I.
All right, Jon, what do you make of the show now? Saturday Night Live is going through the roof with Trump, right?
Yeah, I remember years ago, Senator Al Franken, who hired me, but he said, if you have people go, it's the writing or the cast, and he goes, well, both. If both mesh together, that's when it does its best. And I think that's what you have now, and I think the sketches are I think they're great because I watch them, they've got beginning, middle, and ends, which they used to not do that. And I go, they got a good sketch like a mini movie has to have a premise and a setup. But a premise isn't a sketch. You have to have a story, the characters in a story. And it's hilarious. And the funny thing to me is people go, they're making fun of Trump, whatever. They don't care. Whoever's in office, that's who they
he is a set-up target, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he's got a big personality, so there's a lot there. You know, I've met him over the years. I like him.
I know
you
him
know.
for 35 years.
Yeah.
How long?
But he's got a big personality.
How long can this go, though? How long can they keep running on Trump? In other words,
They're not going. They won't stop till he's out of office. I mean, but it's whoever's in office. I mean, I remember Michael Dukakis was running for president, and I didn't know who he was, and they go, "You'll play Dukakis because we can make you look like him," and I had to find out. So the ratings always go up whenever there's an election or.
What do you think of Baldwin as Trump, and Melissa McCarthy as Spicer, and Kate McKinnon as and those who play Kellyanne Conway?
I think they're hilarious. You know, I mean, they're all super talented. I think that sketch that and I don't even hardly know Sean.
Spicer.
Spicer. Yeah. No, is it Sean or Brian?
Sean.
Oh, that's how much I know. Sean. I don't really know what he's like, but I think the second time the first time Melissa McCarthy did it was hilarious, but the second time, I was like blown away by how talented she was and funny. And then, you know, of course it's an exaggeration of everything. But I mean, her timing, I mean, she just nailed it perfect. And if you notice, she got big laughs, and she never broke character. I mean, and she was in the Groundlings Theater, which I was in too.
That's a famous.
Yeah, and you learn great training there. And Phil Hartman was from there. And you learn, you know, stay in character and don't break character and stay in it. And she does it. And she's like, she does everything. She's totally committed. But her timing, I mean, it's just superb. And he built and built. And then even at the end, when she was on the podium and scooted out of there, and she did that, like perfect timing. And I mean, she nailed it. I think it was one of the most brilliant sketches I've ever seen.
What do you think of women doing men?
It's hilarious, you know. It's just comedy to me. I think people that get mad about it they're taking it too seriously. It's just satire. But I think Alec Baldwin, he doesn't sound like Trump, but there's stuff that he's doing.
No, he doesn't sound like him.
But at the same time, there's stuff that he's doing that remind you of him. So it's interesting to watch, you know. And I think, you know, he's a great actor, and it's hilarious.
Next, we'll visit some of John's most infamous film and TV roles, and maybe talk a little Trump and company as well. Stay with us. Our guest is the brilliant Jon Lovitz. You see him everywhere. Vegas, screen, big screen, little screen.
Thank you.
Like Henny Youngman, he'll work a bar mitzvah.
Hello?
You said you were imitating Lenny Bruce and Woody Allen in college.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lenny Bruce was an old friend of mine.
Really?
Ooh. Lenny and I in Miami Beach hung around.
Well, I saw Take the Money and Run, Woody Allen's first movie when I was 13, and I went, oh, this is the guy. And then 3 years later, the movie Lenny with Dustin Hoffman came out, and I'd never heard of Lenny Bruce. I was 16, so I went to the record store, which is so weird they don't have that anymore, and so I wanted to hear the real guy, and I got his albums, and then I discovered there was a Woody Allen record, and he'd been a stand-up, which I didn't know. So it's called Woody Allen, the Nightclub Years from 1964 to 1968.
It was never comfortable, Woody.
No?
Did it? I took Jackie Gleason to see him at the Diplomat. And
name dropper.
Oh, my God.
I guess you just know everybody.
The latest joke.
Wait, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I thought of an interesting question. Is there anyone that you haven't interviewed that you'd want to?
I'd wanted to do Fidel Castro, and he passed away. I missed him.
Well, it wouldn't have gone well. He didn't speak English.
I would have tried.
All right, it would have been gay? Gay?
Who's a comic you currently flip for?
Let's see. I think David Tell's like hilarious. And then Zach Galifianakis when he does he's really fun, but the Between Two Ferns, that kills me.
Will we ever see a female host the late night show? Joan Rivers.
Well, you had one, Joan Rivers, right?
Yeah, but will we ever see it again? Why?
I would think so, yeah.
Aren't women?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of funny women. The problem is, it's not women. It's just for whatever reason, if a woman's like really does like blue comedy, dirty, it just seems kind of, it's not as funny. Although Sarah Silverman does it, but I don't know. I mean, I look at it like, as a comedian, I don't care if it's a woman or a man. I just go, or whoever they are. Is it funny? It's usually the writing. It's the writing and the delivery. But I mean, right now, I mean, Jimmy Fallon's not going to be going anywhere, and I don't think Stephen Colbert. I mean, but I would think so. I mean, Chelsea Handler had her show. She was kind of doing it. And,
do you work blue?
Yeah, I do. I wouldn't say I work blue. I would say my show's rated R. But I wanted one thing where I could say whatever I want and do whatever I want and not be censored and say how I really feel. So yeah, I do, but not the whole thing. But yeah, parts of it, my act, I do. But it's how you still need jokes and everything. I'm not just.
You realize that Lenny went to jail for things that everybody says now all the time.
Well, now it would be, what he did would just be considered
mild.
Yeah, clever. Because he wasn't just, but that's the thing what people didn't get. What he was, you know him, of course, but what he was really doing was he was talking about language and saying what's the meaning behind words. I mean, I do a whole bit, because I saw an article on Yahoo that said the N-word's a good start. Now, if we could just get rid of these 4 other words, the world would be a perfect place. You know, and I just said, I go, you shouldn't say, people say the N-word now more than they ever said the N-word, and I go, it doesn't work. Because they say you say that, then the N-word, then you think of the real word. So my opinion is I don't think you should say either one. You know, but the idea that you can get rid of words with substitute words, to me, is moronic. Yeah.
We get hung up. Why are we so hung up on words? I mean, it used to baffle.
Well, because I think the quote, this generation, they want everyone to be accepted, and they want, you know, they go, don't hurt people's feelings and be inclusive. And I think that's good. But on the other hand, now they've got like words like that I don't think you even need. Like they go, there's Jeffrey Tambor won the Emmy for Transparent. He goes, I hope I'm the last cisgender to ever play a transgender. And I'm like, what's a cisgender? Well, that's like a man who's physically a man and he thinks he's a man. I'm like, you mean a man? It's like, you know.
Well put.
I have a cis dog.
Are you you're a political conservative, right?
I don't know. I try to look at all sides of everything, and I mean, I've been like a Democrat my whole life, but I listen to everybody. And to me, I wouldn't say I'm a Democrat now, because to me it's so far the other way. I don't know what that is.
You vote for Trump?
Well, I don't say who I voted for, you know, because it's private, and 2, if you say who you voted for or not, people get all upset.
What do you make?
But I don't know. I know that twice in my life the guy I voted for won. Only twice, and so I you know, all the other times I'm like, well, what are you going to do, you know? But I mean, I try to look at all things. I mean, to me, like I'm friends with I met the Kennedys, and I know Bobby Kennedy Jr. I'm friends with him, and I said, you know, I said, Bobby, you don't understand what's happening. If you say to people what your uncle said, which was President John Kennedy, you know, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, and they'll say, don't give me that shit, right? They say that. He goes, no, they don't. I go, yes, they do. So I'm like say a Kennedy Democrat, whatever that means, like go out, you're in America, you have an opportunity, work your butt off, make something of yourself. Well, now, the Republicans say that, and I go, and I don't agree with hardly anything with them socially at all. But that part I agree with, you know. So I don't know what I am, but that's what my act's about, because I think you reach a certain age, like now I'll be 60 soon, and I think every 30 years everything changes to the point where you're like, I'm out of it. I don't understand, you know. Like my dad grew up, you know, born in 1923, grew up in the Depression, was in World War II in the medical school in the Army, had to go to Korean War, was in the Navy, was a doctor on a ship, and then the 60s happened, and there's hippies, and my sisters got into that, and he was like, what is this? You know, and he like lost his mind over it, you know, and now to me there's a lot of stuff happening that I don't understand, you know.
The world is bewildered.
But it changes, and I think it's good, but I think it goes all the way over and then comes back a little, yeah.
After the break, we'll learn John's strangest fan encounter, his guilty pleasure, and more. It's a roundup you only knew with the great Jon Lovitz. Don't click away. We're back with Jon Lovitz. We're going to play a little game of If You Only Knew in a little while. At this point in your career, what's next? Are you always getting offers? Are you always working?
Well, I had to start doing stand-up. It's something I always wanted to do. But like I said, I was like 13 years ago, and I said to my agent and manager, I wasn't getting work for a while. The movie roles were drying up, and they said, hey, can you guys get me work? And I said, I'm not broke, but, you know, I'm going to run out of money in 5 years if I don't work. And they said, why don't you sell your house? I went, that's your answer? And one was building a mansion. One just bought one near me, and I went, I have a better idea. I'm going to learn how to be a stand-up and then fire both of you, and that's what I did. And it worked out great. And then they showed up on the set of Benchwarmers. So my manager goes, notice anything, 6 months after I let him go, and he goes, notice anything different? I go, yeah, I'm working.
Do they still ask you on sitcoms?
Well, a little bit. I did the New Girl and stuff. I would love to do another sitcom. A multi-cam sitcom it's one of the most fun jobs ever.
Why?
Well, First of all, it's really easy. It's only about 30 hours a week. It's really fun, and you're performing. It's like a combination, like Saturday Night Live. It's like, except for the live part, it's like a combination of television, but there's an audience there, so it's like theater, and you do the whole scene at once, and there's multi-cameras, so you can really. It's like filming a play, but in front of an audience. So I thought of it like Saturday Night Live. It's like you have to, when you do a play, there's no cameras, and they go, you got to project to the back your voice, but you can't look like you're yelling, and they have to be able to see what you're doing. But when they do it on a TV show, the camera's right there. So if you did the same thing, it would look too big and not real. So it's like you have to play to the audience through the cameras.
Yeah.
And that's what Saturday Night Live was, and I loved it. So, but sitcoms, it's like doing a live play every week.
Have you ever done
It's
Broadway?
Really yeah, I did. I did The Dinner Party, which was a Neil Simon play.
I love that show.
Yeah, well, John Ritter and Henry Winkler were doing it, and then they did it for about 9 months.
Yeah, I saw them do it.
I took over.
With who?
With Larry Miller, and I did. Which part did I do? Oh, I did Henry Winkler's part, and he did John Ritter. And Larry's great. Well, we had a really good time doing it.
It's a fun play.
Yeah, it was fun. But honestly, after like 2 months, I was like, I'm good.
Did you have to
I have ADD. I get bored
Broadway,
very quick.
you have to stay with the script, right?
You have to stay with the script, and then if you changed anything, they'd start yelling at you. And I'd say, I'm not changing the lines, and I'm not changing the blocking, but I'd say to the stage manager, I said, you really don't know anything about acting, because when you do a play and you're doing it over and over, you learn more and more about the character. So it grows, and your understanding of the play grows. So you don't try to repeat every line like a robot, because it won't work. That's not what you do. But they go, no, you have to do it like this. I go, actually, I don't. So I go, of course I'm not going to be the same as when I started. I'm better now. I know it better,
Yeah, but the words are the same, but your emphasis...
Right. I didn't change the words or the blocking or anything, but you just understand it better.
We're going to play a little game of If You Only Knew, okay? I just throw a question at you.
Okay.
What's the biggest risk you ever took?
Becoming a comedian.
Best piece of advice you ever got?
I heard a preacher on the radio say, are you willing to do what you have to do to get what you want?
Superpower you wish you had?
Well, invisible and fly.
I'm invisible first.
Yeah.
Childhood celebrity crush?
Because we're thinking, ooh, look at that.
Yeah, we both got that. Childhood celebrity crush?
I don't know, Raquel Welch. That pops in my head.
Not bad. Guilty pleasure?
By the way, Raquel Welch, I met her when I was older. She married a friend of mine. Oh, you know Richie Palmer.
Sure.
So I was at their house, and I had a heartburn, and she fed me Maalox on a spoon. And I thought,
really?
Boy, if when I was 13, I could have told myself, someday Raquel Welch will spoon feed you Maalox.
What's a guilty pleasure?
Can't say that.
If not Dana Carvey, who'd you like to work with on stage?
You mean in the show in Vegas?
Dana's sick one night. Who'd you like to work with?
I don't know. Well, David Spade's a good friend. David would be fun.
Do you do impressions?
Yeah, some.
Who do you do like?
My friend Humphrey Bogart, I used to do, hello, sweetheart.
Pretty good.
Okay. Wait, what? Yeah.
Secret talent?
I don't know. I play piano and I sing good. I don't know if that's a secret.
You play piano?
Yeah.
That's good. Oh, I didn't know
I do it in the act. Oh, yes.
What's something you're afraid of?
Death.
Me too. More people should say that because it's true.
Well, yeah. I'm not looking
To not
forward
exist.
to not being able to breathe.
To not exist.
Yeah. But then you can stop breathing. And then what? And then you throw up.
Yeah,
That I don't want to do either.
What's the best perk of being a celebrity?
The women.
What never fails to make you laugh?
Me.
What are you awful at?
I'm kidding.
What are you awful at? What
What
can't you do well? What are you awful at?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Dana Carvey always says that. There's a joke. He goes, well, John, what can't I do? What can't I do well?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I can't. Most actors, they're really good at painting, too. I can't.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of them are great artists. I can't do it at all. For nothing. I can't draw or paint. Horrible at it.
What do you think we should be paying more attention to?
your life and trying to make something of yourself instead of being a victim and blaming everyone else.
Strangest fan encounter.
Oh, God. Some girl, she showed up at my house with all my mail after I was gone for summer.
She's what?
She showed up at my door with all my mail. I said, how do you know where I live? Well, I knew you used to live over here, and I live here. And I was like...
Did you invite her in?
No. No, I was very strange.
Tell me something people don't know about you.
No, they know I'm hung like a horse.
A horse?
That they don't know. I don't know. When I was standing naked next to a horse the other day, and the horse said, damn. So.
In our final moments, Jon Lovitz will take your social media questions. That's next. Back with the great Jon Lovitz. He's once a month. Check the dates at the SLS Hotel in Las Vegas. He's there alongside Dana Carvey. I'm going to go see it in March. Should be hysterical.
It is.
We have some social media questions for you. At Real Jason Strew on Twitter, what movie do you think that's out now stinks? Have you seen it?
Oh, that's because my cartoon character, the critic. Let me tell you, a lot of the movies we made fun of on the critic, or they wanted to, a lot of stuff I wouldn't do because I couldn't. I said, no, I'm friends with that guy. No, I work with that guy. I can just tell you this. I would never say about a movie being bad, only because every movie that I've ever made, they all think they're good. They try their best. They work really hard. And there's so many elements. And I know Leonard Maltin, right? I said, Leonard, if you really want to review a movie, I said, you need to be there when they write the script. Then you need to be there when they get all the notes from the studio, the stuff they have to cut out, and who's available in the cast and who isn't available, and what the budget is and what they can afford. Then you need to be on the set and watch them shoot it and all the compromises they have to make every day because they're losing light or there's an accident or the weather's bad. And then you need to be in the editing room, and then go to the screenings and see that, and then the notes the studio gives you, and the movie could be brilliant, and then they ruin it or whatever, and then see the movie, and then review it, and then say, did they make the movie they set out to make?
No one went out to make it.
But nobody does that. It's right. No, they all try to make them great.
At Gman10S on Twitter, well answered. How the heck do you always have a smile on your face? Why this person thinks you're always smiling?
Well, I don't always, but I take that as a big compliment. I try to be happy, you know.
Ashley Miller on Facebook. Is Tom Hanks as lovely in person as everyone says? I know he's great.
Yeah, very nice guy. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while, but we used to be really close friends.
He has no airs, you know. He has no big following. He's not Hollywood, right?
No.
Paul R. on the Larry King Now blog. How difficult was it not to break up on Saturday Night Live?
It was really hard. I know twice that I did. Once with doing a scene with Dana Carvey and John Malkovich and Al Franken wrote it. And sorry, Senator Al Franken. And John Malkovich was like a 16th century, Louis the 16th Duke or something. And we're behind him, and he's going, "You mock me, you mock me." And Dana and I are behind him. And Al goes, "Just be as silly as you can." So Dana and I got into it, and then we had to race upstage. And we slammed into a wall, and I hit it, but Dana hit it. It was so loud, and I started laughing. But the one time everyone started laughing was Nora Dunn was doing this Pat Stevens sketch, and she was interviewing myself and Kevin Nealon and Phil Hartman, and we were Tonto, Tarzan, and Frankenstein. So we're doing this, and she's like a model, but owns a modeling agency, but not the brightest lady, and she's asking us all these questions. And the joke was. Jim Downey, who's the head writer, said, Tarzan, Tonto, and Frankenstein, they all kind of talk the same, from the movies, right? Like one word, hello, how are you? And Frankenstein's like, your bread. And so Phil was playing Frankenstein. So we're doing it, and all of a sudden, nothing happened, but Phil started laughing. And then he just stopped, and then about 5 seconds later, he just lost it. And he's just laughing hysterically, and I'm going, what happened? So you watch the sketch, we're all laughing, and I'm like this with my hand like this, laughing my head off, like, what is going on? And so we all lost it, and I tried not to, but I couldn't help it. He was just hysterical. So after I said, Phil, what happened? I go, what happened? And he goes, well, I was just thinking about how silly we all must look. So I started laughing. And then he goes, and then I stopped, and then I thought about how the audience what they must have thought, how I looked seeing Frankenstein laugh like that, and I just lost it. And it was a
What did the producers say after the show?
Oh, Lauren, he'd go, well, you know, we all imitate Lauren. He's like, well, you know, it happens. We're not the Carol Burnett show, but you know, it happens, so don't worry about it.
Stromboli Jeff on Twitter. Who from today's pop culture would you like to portray in a Saturday Night Live skit?
Oh, gee. Oh, off the top of my head, I think Bernie Sanders would be fun.
Oh, yeah, he would be.
I think, well, who would they cast me as? Then they're going to go, well, you're Jewish. You can only play Jews.
And finally, how'd you like the new Celebrity Apprentice? How was it?
It was fun. I'm friends with Arnold Schwarzenegger, so he teased me a lot in the show. And I mean, the cast, everybody was really nice, you know. But it was a lot of work, and I learned a lot. And the first task we had, they're explaining the rules to us, and I got the worst headache. And I thought, this is the biggest mistake. But then I started getting into it and learning how to do it. And you know, I got to raise money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. And so overall, it was a really good experience. But I don't want to do a reality show again. Like, the most reality I do is this.
What was it like when you were thrown off?
I knew I was going to get thrown off because we had to raise all this money, and you have to call people and ask them for money, and they go, well, what's it for? And you go, well, I don't know, it's whoever wins. And and they go, can I write it off? I'm like, not now. And I just go, I'm not going to. I didn't feel comfortable asking people for money. But you know what I did? I got to go to Omaha and meet Warren Buffett, and he owns See's Candy, right?
Yeah.
So Chael Sonnen and I, Chael's, you know, in the MMA, great guy, very smart. So we each have to present him with a new piece of chocolate candy made at See's factory. Then he has to pick one. So, you know, he's worth $70 billion. So I'm like, you know, I pull out $1. I go, oh, hello, Mr. Buffett, my friend, Mr. Washington. You know. So I thought, trying to bribe him with $1.
He's a great guy, too.
He was yeah. That guy, you're right, he's one of the most successful people, like, in the history of life.
Regular guy.
So regular, so nice. And I said, you know, I know people with this much success that you have. And I go, you're so nice, you're not arrogant at all. Like, zero.
Zero.
And he goes, yeah, you know, a lot of people get full of themselves. And I mean, he couldn't have been nicer. And he was explaining to us in business, and he told me the secret to making, like, a ton of money.
What's the secret?
I'll tell you after the show.
Thanks, John. A big thanks to my guest, the great Jon Lovitz. Be sure to get tickets to the comedy show Jon Lovitz and Dana Carvey Reunited at the SLS Hotel in Las Vegas. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things.